Hello, and welcome to our podcast,
Cut the Headlights.
Today is episode 22, I believe, and we will be going over the Spanish and Canadian Grand Prix.
Yep, little funny story. This is our second attempt at this because we filmed an entire episode dedicated to the Spanish Grand Prix, and the sound just did not work the entire
It was gone.
time.
We tested it, it was there, I went to edit, and absolutely nothing.
So we're hoping to get to this one.
Yeah, some of the news might be a little bit old, but please bear with us.
But anyways, I guess we can start.
Yeah.
We do have fun Taylor news. Again, we had it last time as well.
It was more current last time we filmed this.
But if you haven't heard yet, Taylor Swift has officially bought back all of her masters, which is very exciting, meaning she now owns all of her work from her first album, Taylor Swift, up to Tortured Poets Department.
Also, I think she owns like her unreleased music too.
Yep,
music videos, anything
movies
with her
above
on it.
Her name is just entirely hers now, which is pretty exciting. She did address the Rep TV rumors, saying that she hadn't even re-recorded a quarter of it, which is pretty wild. Makes everyone feel kind of silly.
Yeah, we were all here expecting it to be fully released, and she's not even planning on doing it.
But she did say that if we are interested, that she will still look into releasing the vault songs for both Reputation and Debut, which she hasn't released yet either. And I think I speak for all Swifties, which is to say we would very much like those vault songs, please, and thank you, Taylor.
Especially because also, like, she even acknowledged, like, she couldn't really recreate Reputation and make it the same, which is very obvious because it's also been, like, so long, it's never going to be the same. But at least with, like, the vault songs, there's nothing to compare it to.
Exactly.
Like, you can get away with it because it's the first time any of us are ever hearing it, and I want it now.
Agreed. I don't want to wait. I want it now. Vault songs.
Yeah.
Very soon. I feel like she has to do something soon. Like,
right?
She hasn't announced anything in a while.
It's been a little bit.
Like, Tay, where are you?
Yeah.
Anywho, back into the F1 news. Thankfully, this issue has been resolved, but Lance Stroll did not partake in the Barcelona Grand Prix due to an injury, which was very surprising because I don't think anybody kind of knew that he was struggling with that.
Yeah, so he'd broken both of his wrists right before the 2023 season had started, and he claimed that he was okay. But apparently, like, for over a month, it was, like, hurting him, and he was like, sorry, guys, can't do it. So we went to have, like, a procedure done.
Yeah.
And
which, honestly, good for him for sticking it out that long, though.
Right? People say he's not committed, but look at him.
He's so committed. He was driving through, like, an intense injury. Ugh, my king.
If he didn't care and he just did it because he had a seat, he would not have stayed through that pain. Yeah. Because he knows he's not going to get fired. Like, there was no risk to him. Yeah. He wouldn't have stayed.
And actually, I was interested to see who was going to replace him, and the answer was nobody. Nobody replaced him. It was 19 drivers on the grid that day, which was pretty interesting, but luckily he was back for his home race in Canada.
Yeah, I was really glad to see that. Like, as much as I would have loved to see a reserve step in for him, because they
so rarely get these opportunities.
They were in various places for Spain. They were unable to make it, but for Canada, they would have had somebody. But I'm glad Lance got to race at his home race. I thought that was nice.
I thought it was nice too. Ooh, this next piece of current news, which is the Claire Williams.
Oh yeah, this one was very different.
Like, very angsty, if
right?
You ask
really
me.
Unexpected. Too.
A little like intense for my taste, me personally. But basically, for those who don't know, George Russell used to be a driver at Williams, and at the time, their team principal was Claire Williams. No relation. Just kidding. That was a funny joke there. She is in relation, obviously. Like, her family has a deep storied connection to F1. Williams used to be very popular, and so when it came time for her to lead the team, there was a lot of pressure. And so what happened was when George Russell first got an offer to move to Mercedes, she shut it down, and she didn't really allow the deal to go through because she wanted to keep him there at her team, hopefully, so that they could do a little bit better. Which I understand she was looking out for her best interest, which is totally valid because it's a business and that's what she kind of had to do. But if you think about it from a driver perspective, like, all your life you've been working for that top team just for your team principals, when you kind of trusted to kind of like screw that deal over to keep you at a team where you were qualifying 19th and 20th consistently, kind of a rough revelation.
Yeah. Also, it's weird because Williams is like the Mercedes junior team. So you think, oh, the junior drivers go here. And then when they get that chance to go to Mercedes, like, that's what we're doing here. And, like, obviously he did go to Mercedes. It worked out pretty well. But you also have to think, like, that would have been Mercedes in what, 2021? That he
Something
would
like
have been there
that.
for. So clearly Mercedes, like, in their prime.
A strong,
Because, like,
dominant car.
he won in 2022, but their car was not good in 2022. So if he could win in that, imagine what he could have done in that 2021 car that almost won the championship.
Yeah.
I would be so mad if I were him. Like, watching Lewis get all those victories and being like, I could have been his teammate.
Yeah, I would be like really resentful if I was an F1 driver, if we're just like being honest, just like in general. But like in this situation specifically, like, yeah, like it's just hard because you're always gonna think about what could have been. Even like he probably like 99% chance he would not have won the championship that year.
Yeah.
But he could have won a few more races. He could have garnered more experience and then won even more races. 2022.
Exactly.
It could have let off a snowball effect that was instead delayed and initiated by a really crappy car.
I feel like it's just so hard though, also because, like, how can he be mad at Claire when he's still driving for her team? He's doing what's best for the team. Like, she's just doing what's best for her team, and she'd be a terrible team principal if she didn't. So it's kind of hard because it's like, who can you be mad at? But also, I would be so mad still.
It's pretty rough, and we could talk about it for a while, but we have to move on. But we will get back to it later, we promise. Something else. The Imola Grand Prix has officially been taken off the 2026 calendar.
Yeah, I saw when they released the 2026 calendar that they added the Madrid circuit. Why do we need it? It's a street circuit. We have one in Spain.
Spain's not that big anyways,
I saw
man.
somebody
Come on now.
say that they were calling it Madring. Like, that's so bad. And I was like,
if that's true, that would be pretty silly.
Man, what did they take off the calendar until I realized?
Like the Hungaroring? That eats that down. That's so a really good name.
Madring?
Madring is not
Okay,
good.
To be fair, I don't know if that's true or not, but I kind of hope it is. At least give the race something interesting. But yeah, so Imola was taken off of the calendar.
I hate street circuits and that right now.
And Imola's like a historic race. Like, come on.
Isn't that someone like died there, right?
Yeah.
Ayrton
Senna.
That's where Ayrton Senna
also
died. Like, he had his fatal crash, and like he was like a big deal in the sports for like a lot of drivers. He was like the greatest of all time. So you'd think something like, if we're talking about legacy, like,
it would be important
that should be kept just as well as the Monaco Grand Prix has been. If we're talking about like excitement, then I don't see reason for one to stay and the other one not to.
Right? Like, street circuits are not more. It's pretty established. Street circuits are not more exciting. We don't need another one. Another driver also died that same weekend in qualifying.
Oh, poor guy. No one even cares because like,
I read this really sad thing that apparently Senna had a flag. I don't remember where he was from, but he had like his home flag. No, Senna was, but the guy who died in qualifying.
Oh, I thought you said
because at that time, Senna was dominant. So he was like, okay, I'm probably going to be on the podium. So he had a flag of the other guy's home country in his car to put on the podium.
Oh,
and Senna didn't. That was the race that Senna died.
I get it. That is pretty sad.
Yeah.
Took me a second to piece.
Really rough weekend. Makes you really grateful for the good technology we have now, right?
Yeah, all those like haters, because they're like, oh, the halo makes the car look bad.
Okay.
Come on now. Let's.
Okay.
Anyways, priorities, babes.
So not only is Imola leaving, but the Dutch Grand Prix also announced that they would be leaving, and 2026 would be the last race, which is so sad. Like,
that is actually pretty wild news, and I think it kind of begs the question: will Max Verstappen be leaving after 2026? Is there any correlation? Like,
could be like a package deal,
something behind the deal, like he didn't like re-sign a contract, so like they didn't see purpose in like keeping it or something. It feels very odd because that's like a big race for him. Almost every driver has a home race.
Yeah.
So to take off the world champions? It's a little odd.
Speaking of home races, even though, because I was thinking, like, what's going to replace the Dutch Grand Prix?
Yeah.
And there's been some news recently, I think it was like today or yesterday, that Alex Albon could potentially be getting a real home race. Because, like, yes, he's British, but he races under the Thai flag. So apparently Thailand was just approved to put in a $1.2 billion bid to host a street circuit through Bangkok. Street circuit, but I feel like it'd be so cool to see one in Bangkok. Like, I would be so
that would be interesting.
If we have to add a street circuit, let's do Thailand and not Madrid.
I'm surprised they don't have one in Brazil either.
They do.
They do?
Yeah.
Oh, they do. They have the Sao Paulo one.
Yeah.
Never mind then. Yeah, every driver. Who doesn't then?
Who doesn't have a home race?
Franco Colapinto.
Franco doesn't.
There's no Argentinian one.
I'm trying to remember who else is on the grid. A lot of Brits.
Right? Yeah, you can like
Yuki has
Google.
one. Max has one.
Kimi
has one.
Lance, Logan used to in
Don't remind
the
me.
US.
Wait, who else are we? Does Nico have one? Yeah, he does.
Is there a German Grand Prix?
Is there? No?
I don't. Maybe there's like a Belgian one, but I don't think there's a German one. Is
Oh,
there?
you're right. Okay, so maybe Nico doesn't have one.
Aw,
Who else
my
is on the
baby,
grid?
get my man a like home race.
Is there one in France?
There's one in France.
I want to say no.
Feels like there's a lot of big places that they're not hitting.
Right,
They
so
have
that
them
would
in,
mean
like,
Pierre
some
and
random
Isaac
places.
don't have one.
That's true.
All right,
if they do
clearly-
have one, this would be pretty embarrassing for us.
Yeah,
but
maybe we should talk about this when we actually remember where all the races are.
maybe. Some kind of on the DL interesting news. Arvid Lindblad just received his super license, so he is kind of a development driver for
He's
Red Bull.
yeah.
And so that kind of begs the question: could we be seeing a new Red Bull driver in F1 soon? And earlier when we were discussing, when we were planning, Tori said that could be kind of related to Yuki. But now, since we're talking about the Dutch Grand Prix leaving,
Oh, true.
could it be related to Max Verstappen?
True. Max did say he would retire and do other things. Like, he's made it clear, like, after his contract ends in 2028, he's not going to renew it and he's going to go do other things. And
Did he
maybe
end it
because he
early?
started
I
a
don't know.
family. There's an exit clause in his contract that I want to say it's by Silverstone. If he's outside of P4 in the standings, he could leave. But if he's inside,
Ooh.
if he's within P4, which he currently is, I think he's third, right?
Yeah, he's third.
I don't think he can get out of his contract this season at least. I don't know.
Interesting. Maybe for 2026.
That's like
we
the
don't
only
know.
public knowledge I think we have of that.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I think it's too early because he's only 17. Like, I know we've seen Kimi, he's super young, and, you know, it worked out. Max was super young, and it worked out. But, like, let's bring up, I don't know, not Isaac, actually.
The problem with Max Verstappen is now every single team is looking for their Max Verstappen. Luckily for Mercedes, Kimi Antonelli seems to be doing a pretty solid job.
Yeah, it worked out for Toto.
But
I'm sure Toto would love to have his own Max Verstappen, though.
I'm sure he would.
Didn't he say,
would.
like, once that he just carries around a contract for Max to sign whenever he felt like it?
Something like that, yeah.
Speaking of, actually, there have been a lot of rumors that I don't really know where this came from, but that Charles would be replacing George at Mercedes. Because Charles has been speaking out about
Brit-Sadie's reunion at Ferrari.
So the George, the swap wasn't part of it. It was just George getting
in my
replaced.
head, it's a swap.
But true,
now.
honestly, where would George go?
Wait, like him and Lewis could find each other again. That'd be like really cute.
But yeah, so Charles has been like talking about how like unhappy he is with Ferrari and everything, and Fred has also been like talking out about that. And Charles, I think, said
I
in
wouldn't
some
be surprised
press
if he leaves, honestly.
before Canada, like he would consider leaving if they don't get it together. And I'm not sure where the George Russell swap thing came from, but I guess for Mercedes is where they think he's gonna go.
Maybe, I don't know.
He's just
obviously
so Ferrari.
I find it hard to root for George Russell to be replaced. So I will say I would love a Charles Leclerc Red Bull villain arc.
That would be so good. But
he would do great there.
He would have to replace Max. I don't think him and Max would be good.
That would be so interesting.
It would be
to
such
watch,
a downfall
though.
for Charles, though.
But it would be like fascinating to view. I don't know, on equal equipment, Max is a little older. You never know how he could take the car.
No, I don't think it would work. I don't think that they would be good.
So
teammates.
Interesting, though.
I think it could be like a Brosades, but a little less.
Wouldn't
extreme.
that be fascinating, though? Wouldn't that be so exciting?
No,
to
I
watch?
want Charles to succeed.
No, I know, like me
He
too.
can replace Max.
But Nico Rosberg still became a world champion.
No, I'm sorry. I don't want him at Red Bull.
Anyways, natural segue. Now that I brought up Nico Rosberg, he was here commentating at both of the races we're covering today, which is pretty fun.
Yes. So for Spain, he was doing like commentary throughout the race, and then Canada, he just did post-race interviews. But I loved it so much.
My
I love
icon.
when he's
I
there.
love him.
I know. It's so crazy when he's there for Spain though, because that was such a big Mercedes breakup moment. and they had this little montage playing at the beginning of the Grand Prix, and I was literally waiting for the crash. And there was like they showed the iconic Mercedes crash from 2015, I think, 16, 2014 to 2016.
Somewhere in that range
Like,
for sure.
the iconic crash though, and it's just like so crazy, like having him do commentary, like where that moment happened.
It is crazy. It's very awkward, but honestly, good for him for handling it pretty well.
He's like, I love having him in the commentary box too. Like, I feel like he gives so much like insight to how
He's in the know,
right. Like I know, like yes, the commentators like drove an F1, but like Nico just talks more about like the vibes. Maybe because it was
Yeah.
more recent, but I remember like during the safety car, he was like, okay, so this is what they'll be doing now, and they're gonna get ready for this. Like,
yeah,
it really gave you a nice inside
because
perspective.
he's more of like a recent driver.
Yeah.
Like I said,
I appreciated it.
agreed. And then the F1 movie premiere just happened in New York. Very exciting, seeing all the drivers all dressed up for that. Quick little comment on that though. During the Canadian Grand Prix, there was one screen, and they were showing the trailer for the F1 movie the entire time, and every time they passed it, they were showing it, and it was so annoying. And I saw this TikTok of like, it was like a meme, but it was like people like at the Canadian Grand Prix seeing that same trailer the entire race.
Especially when you could use
So
the
annoying.
screen for like standings or
Yeah,
the race itself.
literally.
I get
That'd be
I
kinda
get
annoying.
having it on repeat when it's not the race, but maybe turn it off for the race.
Yeah, literally, they should have. But anyways, yeah, the premiere happened.
It
Pretty
was
fun.
so cool. It was like the red carpet was in the middle of Times Square, and they had like a whole like all the cars on each side of the red carpet. It was great, but you know, and it was so cool. I loved it so much. It was so
That
funny
was
like
very
seeing
cool.
all the drivers like outfits.
Yes.
It was so funny, like some of them, like Yuki's. I actually loved his outfit. He had like this
Yeah.
like really like oversized suit. Like I feel like he did something with it.
I think they all looked very classy. Like nobody
Esteban
was
and
too
his bow
flashy
tie
or
was
bad.
so cute.
I love Esteban. I'm like actually a really big Esteban fan
It was
now.
so cute. Like half of the drivers were wearing like bright white shoes. They were so weird and casual, and Esteban had like his nice dress shoes on, the bow tie. Like
I know he was
ready.
so excited.
Right?
Like,
I loved it. You know who I really would have loved to see?
who?
Joe.
He would have
been
eaten
like
down.
his outfit would have been so good, and I was so sad that he wasn't there. I mean, he still could have been. He's a Ferrari reserve. They could have had him.
They don't pay for the reserves, man.
But yeah, and then obviously Lewis was there. So I saw it was some like press thing saying like that Lewis was there for the movie he produced about the sport that he conquered or something. And that was just like so cool. Like imagine being like one of the greatest of the sport and producing the movie about it.
Honestly, yeah, like an
so
icon.
iconic. And just being able to do that.
Yeah.
There were once again some like mixed reviews of the drivers afterward.
Like in regards to the movie.
Yeah. But I think we really just still
all of the drivers are just like a little nitpicky about it. Like obviously like they're like they're in it every single day. Like that is their livelihood to them. So like when they see things that are like inconsistent, they find it a bit odd.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting for us to see it from like a fan perspective, but not so much.
Not too in deep on like the technical side.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Agreed. Anyways, we are going to start our race recap now. First, starting off with Spain. Oscar Piastri did take home the win. It was very sweet. When he got the champagne afterwards, he dedicated it to his sister Edie, who was there to watch him. Cute. It was very kind. I just thought that was like a really cute little moment.
It was.
Yeah. And then another thing that happened, another Mercedes engine failure because Alex Albon had to retire. And for those who don't know, because like obviously he's not a Mercedes, like Mercedes provides the power unit for these teams. So it is ultimately on them, like not on the team itself, but on the company.
Yeah. And the Mercedes power unit has been bad for a few races. Like Kimi has had to retire because of it. George has had issues.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Very annoying, actually.
Right? Imagine like being Williams and it not even being your power unit and it just failing.
If I was a Mercedes, I'd just be like, well, make your own power unit then. Goddamn.
They're not a car company. They can't.
I know, but like sucks for them.
But
like
if I were Williams, I'd switch.
I'd be very upset
Honda or something.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, not that it's working out that well for Red Bull either.
At least they haven't DNF'd because of an engine.
True. I don't know. Anyways, there was another little moment on track that I just think really showed the difference between kind of experienced and inexperienced drivers, between Ollie Behrman and Liam Lawson. There was a point when they were both getting lapped, and it was just very clunky and chaotic. They both kind of failed to get out of the way in time, and the drivers, the older ones who were lapping them, just sounded very annoyed. And listen, they're rookies. Mistakes are bound to happen. That's part of the deal. But you just can't block drivers when they're passing you. Like,
Yeah.
you have to get out of the way. And for them to kind of, like, struggle with that did show a little sloppiness on their part.
They were like in the middle of a battle, so like I understand wanting that position, but I feel like it should be known like you are being lapped. Your battle is not as important as the one for first place, so
For
you
sure.
need to like make way.
I hate when I'm like watching a race and they're like, "Whoa, intense battle between 18th and 17th place," and it's like, I don't care at all. Like, what?
Yeah, sometimes if it's like really interesting, like okay, but there's not very high stakes.
It's just there's no stakes. Like, nothing. If it's like,
Also,
even
I
if
feel
it's
so bad for
11th
them.
for
Like
10th, at least that's a little bit more interesting. But it's still just 1 point. Now for something that like doesn't even matter at all.
yeah,
Ugh.
I guess if you're doing like so terribly in the standings, it would make a little bit of a difference. But
Maybe amongst the midfield teams, but still not
that
really.
much.
Yeah, and then it was a good race, however, though, for Fernando Alonso. That was pretty exciting. He got points this time around, home race,
Yes.
which was very nice for him.
First time this season finishing in the points, which is a crazy statement for Fernando Alonso. But yeah, I was so happy for him from going from saying like, "Oh, I'm the unluckiest driver in the world" to getting points in his home race. I think it's nice.
What a king.
He's improving.
Yeah. And not only him, it was a good day for all older drivers because Nico Hulkenberg finished P5, 5th place in what is arguably one of the worst, if not the worst car on the grid. He started P15, so he made up 10 places,
So impressive.
which is just so impressive. Like, I am so proud of him because, like, making up 10 places is hard for any driver. Doing it in a bad car is even crazier. Doing it when you're, like, older and starting so near the back, like, wow, like, that was just such a good drive on his part. Like, I was shocked that he did not win driver of the day. I was so annoyed.
I will say, though, it was not a good day for all the old drivers because in order for Nico Hulkenberg to finish P5, he overtook Lewis Hamilton.
Oh,
a Sauber overtaking a Ferrari.
But Lewis still got points.
And Lewis Hamilton in that Ferrari. That's got to be so humbling.
Yeah, I would probably kill myself, honestly.
Like, I wonder what his thoughts were about like the whole like switch from Mercedes.
Yeah, I wonder how Lewis is feeling. I can imagine
he's going through it.
Probably a little bit of regret.
Yeah.
Naturally, obviously, not like, oh, I shouldn't have done this, but when you make such a big decision and it's not going the way you hope, there's a little bit of.
Do you think he's thinking of Daniel Ricciardo? I would be.
Yes and no. Yes, because Daniel Ricciardo, like, he's famous for leaving a top team to go to another one and kind of ruining his career over it. But the difference is Daniel Ricciardo didn't have 7 world championships before doing so.
Lewis still
Daniel
does
Ricciardo
have that.
is like the world champion that could have been, you know. Lewis Hamilton is like the greatest of all time.
Yeah. But yeah, so
his career will never be ruined because he's already accomplished so much.
But
no, not great luck.
For Nico, it worked out, you know.
For Nico?
Nico has so little.
Lewis has 7 world championships. Nico has never gotten a podium. So, you know what? I'm okay with the sacrifice.
I'm semi-okay.
But what was annoying is that the person who did win driver of the day was Max Verstappen. And as you all will see in a second, he did not have a good race.
To be fair, though, the vote was done before that.
But still, even if you...
But it wasn't special enough for him to win.
He didn't accomplish anything incredible like Nico did. But anyways, our 2 favorite queens are beefing again, Max and George. Very annoying. Like, can't they just be best friends already? Can they just, like, kiss and make up? Like, what is happening?
Yeah, so there was a late safety car in the race, and the restart ended up being really awkward. So basically, there was a little bit of drama at the front between Max and Charles, and then right after that, Max kind of overtook George, and his mechanic was like, Max, you've got to give that place back. Like, we think that's going to get you a penalty, so we just want you to give that place back to be safe. And Max is on the radio like, absolutely not. I did nothing wrong. Like, I'm not going to get a penalty for that. And even, like, the commentators were saying, like, they acknowledged, like, Max didn't do anything wrong. He didn't need to give the place back. But they told George that he was going to be given the place back. So George goes to take it, and Max is like, no. And then kind of just, they're on a turn, and Max, instead of going around George, just goes into George.
Yeah. Not his best moment.
No.
At least the FIA agreed, though, because they gave him a 10-second penalty for it. And I've always been one who kind of agrees that the FIA does over-penalize Max Verstappen sometimes. But in this case, I think it was deserved. You can't purposefully drive into a driver, even if it wasn't, like, on purpose, even though, like, there's a solid chance Max Verstappen lost his cool and did it on purpose.
I understand.
You can't do that.
The annoyance over being told to give the place back that you know you don't need to give back, especially because he was in the right. But going about it in a way that's going to cause damage to you and somebody else's car, and even if you're on a corner and you're not going fast, like, you're still in, like, a really dangerous sport. Maybe let's not hit each other on purpose. Like, maybe let's think about our safety and the safety of the driver that we're trying to hit.
Agreed.
Because, like, they weren't going fast enough for it to be something crazy, but you should never drive into somebody.
Yeah, because it's not just you who you're affecting. Also, it's people who are going to have to work overtime to fix it, money lost, damage caused. And it's not necessary. And it's just not good sportsmanship.
Yeah, it's so unnecessary.
Like, just be professional. You are a father, sir. Come on now.
It was funny, though. There were a bunch of edits after with that one clip of George going, like, he just, whenever anything is not going his way, he lashes out with unnecessary anger and borderline violence. And it was just edits to Max running into George.
Yeah.
And I
fear he proved him right, though. Everybody was like, oh, George overreacting. But then Max goes and pulls stuff like this, and it's like, maybe he does lash out with unnecessary anger and borderline violence.
The crazy thing is, everybody was so quick to hate on George during that drama. Like, from last season, everyone was so quick to just say George was the bad guy. And while I don't agree that Max is a terrible person, and I definitely think it was, like, a little over-exaggerated because it was just the heat of the moment, like, you cannot deny that Max is, you know, he's an intense person.
Yeah.
We've seen it.
Everyone's seen that clip of him pushing Esteban Ocon.
Right.
Like, come on now.
Like, everybody can have their moments, even if that's not what he's always like. But for this, people were so, even though Max was 100% at fault for this one, people were so quick to defend him and be like, oh my God, Mad Max is back. I can't wait. Oh my God, he was so real for that. Like, that's so funny. George is getting what he deserves. Like, I'm sorry. What? I saw somebody right before the Canadian Grand Prix going, you know, I don't hate George Russell or anything, but I'm not saying I wouldn't be mad if Max just absolutely rammed into him at the start of the Grand Prix, and that I wouldn't go buy Max Verstappen merch after. Because for context, they started on the front row together.
Yeah.
But, like, why are we encouraging drivers to run into each other in such a dangerous sport and dangerous machinery? Like, that's insane. Can we just watch the sport? Like, why do we have to be doing that?
Why can't we all just, like, be best friends and, like, vacation together and, like, go to dinner and, like, be best friends? Like, why isn't that what happens?
Even if they don't want to be best friends, like,
there has to be a level of mutual
acknowledge
respect.
our faults. And also, just, like, for the fans, like, let's not, like, make it worse. Let's not want it to be worse. Why do we want these drivers to be fighting in their cars?
Agreed. And it's the same people who, like, preach, like, mental health matters, but then they're, like,
crash into him,
promoting violence against the driver because you don't love their personality. Like, come on now. Like, what effect is that going to have except a negative one?
Right? Like, people can get seriously hurt by that. Like, let's not joke about it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But anyways, that moves us on to Canada, where they both did start on the front row together. And George Russell actually took home the win.
Yeah.
Which was pretty exciting for me personally. Similar to what Oscar Piastri did when he got the champagne. He signed it, like,
for his
in honor of all fathers for Father's Day, which was pretty cute. Maybe all these drivers have been doing it, and I just started noticing these champagne dedications. But I'm really into it.
Started showing it, but
right,
I'm here for it.
It's cute. I'm liking it so far.
I will say though, so even though there were no Max and George collisions at the beginning of this race, but honestly, the Max and George front row lockout wasn't even the craziest thing about qualifying. So much stuff happened. Especially for poor Alex Albon, he was really going through it. At one point, I'm not 100% sure the context for this. He goes to pit and just drives past the garage, the Williams garage. You can see the mechanics just, like, follow his car, just driving past, just spending all that time going slower to not even change his tires.
Poor guy, he was on the radio at one point being like, you guys never listen to me.
Yeah, he's
like,
going through it this weekend.
Is so done.
At one point in qualifying, the, like, carbon fiber covering all his engine just flew off. Just flew off into this track, and half of the inside of his car were just on display.
Yeah, pretty awkward. But it was not only a positive race for George Russell, but for the Mercedes team in general, because Kimi Antonelli got his First podium ever, making him the 3rd youngest ever podium sitter. So exciting. I was so
cute.
excited for him. I was like literally beaming. Like I said it beforehand. I was like, Mercedes double podium
She
today.
did.
That's like the dream goal. And I'm just so happy. I love them so much. After he got on the podium, he was just like following George around. It was funny. Really cute.
At one point, he asked like on the radio, he was like, "So what do I do? Like, where do I go?" And you could see after he was literally following George around like a little like duckling.
So precious.
So
I love them. I was so excited for them.
And you could see him like in the interview, like he didn't in the cool down room. I mean, he like didn't look fully comfortable. He was kind of like, what am I doing?
Like
here?
a little out of place.
Like, what do I do? Also, it's kind of awkward because Max got second place, so it was George and Max in the cool down room with Kimmy.
But you know what? They were pretty civil. I saw Max spray George a lot with champagne during the podium celebration. They were chatting in the cool down room. It's like divorced dads like coming together for their like child.
Maybe Kimmy will end the beef once and for all.
Maybe parent trap them for real or something. Yeah. But yeah, they were very civil, which is good. I mean, obviously, like I don't think anybody expected them to be like throwing hands, but nothing seemed icy or anything.
They didn't have like any shady interviews this time.
Agreed. Which
actually
was
before they did, before the race, George said something about like he alluded to Joss, Max's dad, and he was like, we know who the boss is. And I will say that a little weird because one, you can acknowledge like we all know it's pretty common knowledge that Max did not have a very good childhood because of Joss. Maybe like Joss, like calling Joss the boss is maybe like not like it's a little maybe too big of a dig. But a lot of people were saying that Joss's nickname was Joss the Boss. So that's probably what he was like meaning to allude to. Yeah.
Like I think you could take it in a little bit of a weird way, but also like we don't know Max Verstappen personally. And like Max always speaks pretty positively of his dad. Yeah. So when you do know him personally, it probably takes away from that kind of scary image of him that we can see when we're out of the situation. Like if the main stuff you hear about Joss is from his son himself, he probably doesn't seem as much of like a big bad as when what you hear about him is just horror stories on TikTok.
Or like that one interview with Daniel Ricciardo where he's stabbing things and Max is like, my dad did that to a mechanic's hand once. But like he's so lighthearted about it. It's crazy.
Yeah, so like
anyway, so I'm like it wasn't all like it's not all gone, but hopefully it is cooling down
hopefully
forever. If only we could do that when we play the game.
That was so perfect. Oh my gosh. Another good race for Nico Hülkenberg though. He finished P8. Pretty solid. But it was not a good race for all older drivers this time because Lewis Hamilton
once again, struggling.
There was a death on track.
So
Lewis Hamilton killed a groundhog.
Yeah, so during the race, he was really struggling. And this was before the groundhog news came out. Some people said that they could see it on the track. I personally did not.
I didn't see anything happen either.
They could see like half of its body, not it happening. Yeah. So he's like really struggling and he keeps telling the team that and they're like, Lewis, we realize like you have floor damage and you got it around lap 13 and you're losing half a second per lap. And I will say it was nice because they did like the numbers and without that damage, Lewis would have been pretty on par with Charles, which is nice here because Charles did pretty well.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it came out after that he did in fact run over a groundhog. And I felt so bad for him in the interview. Like, this guy is a vegan.
No, like, he was genuinely like, I love animals so much. I feel so bad about this. Yeah, his exact words were devastated. Like, he did not want to kill that animal.
He definitely cared more about that than the car. And I love that. Like, also, and I saw it, like, a little bit after in something. Like, you could see the shape of...
Really?
You couldn't tell it was a groundhog. It was, I think, half of the groundhog.
Gross.
But...
Yeah, Lewis, he took it hard. But, you know... Yeah, I think the groundhog took it harder, so what are you gonna do?
Yeah. I don't blame him, like, you literally couldn't see it. Like, sometimes you can tell, like, Pierre could, like, see the thing. At one time, Max killed a bird, he could tell. But the groundhog ran right into a shadow area, so I saw it, like, a replay of when it happened, you could barely tell. And if you're moving that far, like, there's no way.
Yeah, that sucks.
At least he went out quickly.
And then Alex, not only did he have those troubles in qualifying, but he did end up retiring completely. Mercedes engine failure, back at it again. Another retirement was Liam Lawson due to a cooling issue.
Liam also had a rough race. He started from the
pit lane. Liam also had a rough F1 career.
He really has.
Poor guy. I feel kind of bad for him.
He did so well, like 2023, 2024. Like,
Goes to show, you never know.
But yes, we had like a 50 place grid drop because of he just changed parts in his car. So he already started poorly and then didn't even finish the race.
And then last little bit for the Canadian Grand Prix was there was a McLaren collision on track.
That was awful.
Super, it's gonna sound bad, but honestly it was very exciting to watch because you think things are cooling down and then they start like going side by side and then one of them is just like in the wall and it was Lando Norris.
Yeah.
I think he handled it really well though. He took full responsibility. He was very polite about it, very professional. Good for him. But that was just a wild moment.
I understand how it happened because they were fighting for, what was it, fourth place?
I think so, yeah.
And at one point, Lando's kind of ahead of Oscar, and then Oscar's ahead, and they're going back and forth. And yeah, so they get to like the start finish straight, and Lando thinks there's a gap, but there's no gap. And he goes straight into the wall. He hits Oscar. His whole front wing comes off of his car, and he's out of the race with like 3 laps to go. I think it was lap 67 or 68 out of 70. I was not entertained. I was devastated, actually. So
I was just so like, wow. Like teammate on teammate drama is always just crazy to see because, you know, obviously like they're not trying to hurt their teammate and they're trying to maximize result for the teams, but also you have to like go for what you want with yourself and just like most of the times it works, sometimes it just doesn't. So to see it like not work, and also I think the reason it was so like exciting seems like a bad word, but just I mean like exciting like your nervous system, you know, not like happiness, just like arousing, like whoa, is because Lando Norris is a top tier driver. He was supposed to win the championship this year. Like so
he will win the championship
crash
this year
with his teammate on just like kind of a perspective issue. Again, no blame to him. I mean, obviously blame to him, but I mean like no hate to him.
Right.
He took responsibility completely and
like immediately he was like, that's on me.
He was going for it. I have to respect that. But I don't know, it was just kind of a wild thing to happen. Very like, whoa, when you think things are cooling down, everything's done. It was just like a last minute plot twist.
Yeah, and it was so soon to the end. They literally finished the race under the safety car. There wasn't even a restart.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was very upset. The difference between them, I think now is 22 points in the championship. I could be lying to you. But it's definitely a lot bigger than, what was it, like 3 before we started this race?
I don't know what it was before.
It was down to very little. And unfortunately, it's
the gap is 22. Yeah, good job.
And they said it on the thing.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't do the math there. I just remember.
Very impressive.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I did it myself. But yeah, it was really upsetting. But he handled it so maturely, and I think it just really shows the difference between like his last year mentality and this year mentality. I thought it was nice.
Agreed. Good for him. Love to see character growth.
Mm-hmm. And Oscar like acknowledged, he was like, it's not his fault. Like he apologized. Like that's fine.
Yeah. Very professional for them.
Yeah.
But that is it for our race recaps. We get to move on to our driver song connections this time. So our first one, I'm really excited about this because it's going to be sad, beautiful, tragic, and it's going to be about like the whole George Russell, Claire Williams situation. And I'm so excited because George Russell is my favorite driver, and Sad, Beautiful, Tragic was actually one of my surprise songs when I went to go see Taylor Swift. So I feel like this is a very me-core driver song connection. Very hyped for this one.
I'm also really excited for this one because I feel like it's such a different one. Like
it is
it's a driver one, but it's also about like a
situation.
Yeah, like I think it'll be interesting. I'm excited. I hope you guys like it.
Yeah, me too.
I'm gonna read some of the lyrics.
Okay. So one of the first lyrics is words, how little they mean when they're a little too late. And so, you know, this kind of Claire Williams stuff came about recently. And so she was very like, oh, I felt bad about doing this, but you know, I had to do what was best for my team, but it's far too late for that now. Like, even though we just found out about it, I'm sure the drivers knew about it at that time. Mm-hmm. And just like, it's too late for apologies once you kind of do something to dampen somebody's career on such a large scale. Like, no matter how much you say you're sorry in interviews, it's a little too late. The damage has been done.
Yeah, like he'll never get that time back in the car. And then another one, I stood right by the tracks. I love when there's like an F1 related word in a song.
I do
like
too.
If you talk about a car or like Aston Martin. I love it. But I mean, there's I don't know if there's really a connection with that, but
it's just like F1, like it's just like tracks.
I don't know, I just thought I would mention it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what I
I
was
love
gonna
them.
say also though is like good girls hopeful they'll be and long they'll wait. So obviously we're gonna disregard the good girls part. But I feel like the hopeful they'll be and long they'll wait is like George. Obviously you're at a junior team, but you're always hoping to get to the top team and you want to be at Mercedes.
Yeah.
And he actually had to wait kind of a long time. Like even if it was just one season makes such a difference because we saw the Mercedes car going from championship winning to struggling to do well. So yeah.
For sure. And then obviously the course is just we had a beautiful magic love affair, what a sad, beautiful, tragic love affair. And so this just kind of shows like the duality of the whole situation. Like it was really incredible. It was like magic because he had a shot in F1, like that's the dream. But also there's some tragedy because it did hold him back from pursuing like the pinnacle of the sport. So it's just kind of like how you can't recall a relationship by separating the good and the bad. It's just all meshed up together. And I think that just really shows that aspect.
Yeah. And then next up, this kind of and time is taking it sweet, time erasing you, and you've got your demons and they all look like me. And I feel like especially like the like time is taking it sweet, time erasing you kind of talks about like I feel like it's if you're not at a top team, like you're not gonna be remembered. I feel like, we see Fernando Alonso talked about less, newer fans not knowing like Carlos at Ferrari, things like that. And then also, like, and you've got your demons and darling, they all look like me, kind of like the demon being Claire Williams. Um, you know what I mean? Like maybe
I
like
kind of thought about it from a different perspective, if I'm being honest. I think you're kind of looking at it from like George's perspective. I think of it kind of from Claire Williams' perspective because when she brought it up in the interview, like she sounded remorseful, regretful. So I think it's like her demons, like, and darling, they all look like me. Like they look like George Russell for her because
interesting.
they kind of make her regret something she did, pursuing business instead of morality and doing what's best for somebody you promised to take care of. That's kind of how I see it because she clearly still feels some sort of guilt all these years later. Time's taking its sweet time erasing you. Like she can't really move past that yet because she knows she kind of did something bad and she hasn't really had a chance to rectify things. So that's kind of like what's plaguing her.
Interesting. Yeah, I was thinking more like George, like the demon being Claire, and like what's the next part? And like darling, they all look like me. Like just like the thought of like what could have been.
Maybe. I don't know. It's just my interpretation. And then, guys, this song has like a really good bridge at the concert. Like nobody knew it, and it was just like me shouting it alone in my section. But like I had to power through because it's such a good bridge. But it says like distance, timing, breakdown, fighting, silence. The train runs off its tracks, and it's just kind of like a slow deterioration of a relationship. You had so much hope for it, but then you start seeing all these cracks. You start kind of like noticing that this person's interest like doesn't really align with yours, and so it's kind of just like that breakdown of trust that you had in a relationship and that faith.
Yeah. And then I feel like next is like, could you just try to listen, hang up, give up for the life of us? We can't get back. Like, I'm sure there were conversations, like difficult ones that Claire had to have with George. It's like, I need to do this for our team. Like, I'm sorry this is bad for you, but like, this is the best for us. And then, just like the struggle between them then. And then, like, they can never go back to that relationship they had at the beginning. Because even though, like, they could be they're probably on good terms now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's any, like, real grudges held.
Yeah,
But that will always, like, taint their relationship. Like, when they think of each other. And it's not, like, as pure as it could have been.
totally. And guys, Taylor said she loves this song at the concert. She was like, I love this song. Like she said that. So like give it a listen. It's such a good one. Such a pretty song. And then our next driver song connection actually has something to do with what Tori was just saying about older drivers being talked about less because it's Fernando Alonso as Bejeweled.
I love having Fernando in connections.
Right?
I think it's so
Honestly,
fun.
these connections this time is really good because we don't do like drivers like George Russell and Fernando Alonso often in our connections.
Yeah.
Like
it's
I
like
feel
all
like
Mercedes and Max
it's a lot
Verstappen.
Mercedes. We used to have a bit of Daniel Ricciardo sprinkled in a little bit more when he was still on the grid. But yeah, so hashtag diversity, I guess. But it's really this one. I feel like Sad, Beautiful, Tragic is like a lot of lyrics are very poignant to what happened between George Russell and Claire Williams. This one is definitely one of the ones that it's just more like vibes because it talks about kind of like regaining your sparkle even when other people kind of forgot about that aspect of your life, like proving that just because you're a little bit older and have had a little bit more experience does not mean you're not still something incredible worthy of like being admired.
Yeah. So just like uh at the beginning, I feel like putting someone first only works when you're in their top 5. And I think that kind of like just talks about like you're only looking at the top teams and the top drivers at the moment. Like they are the priority. Like how we were talking about earlier, like you don't want to hear about the battles for
Yeah,
P15 and 14. Like you care about the top ones. And just kind of like Fernando used to be that, and now he's just not anymore.
for sure. And it's like same thing with that lyric, putting someone first. Like he has given so much to this sport, but like once you kind of start falling out of that high ranking, it's hard because like why would you devote so much time and energy? Why would you risk your life on a weekly basis for a team that's not even like getting you where you want to
Yeah.
be, you know? And then the chorus says, best believe I'm still bejeweled. When I walk in the room, I can still make the whole place shimmer. Like people forget just because he's not consistently even getting points at this point, he is a two-time world champion. He is a very big deal. Like, and when you think about if you go to somebody who doesn't really know anything about F1 and you have them name some drivers, chances are they will mention Fernando Alonso. Like, guys, he's mentioned in a Charlie XCX song, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty iconic.
But it just shows like his global reach. Like, he is still like one of the icons of this sport.
For sure.
And people like forget that just because he's not that successful at the moment. But on a large scale, you put all the drivers in a room, people's attention are going to Lewis Hamilton, people's attention are going to Max Verstappen, and people's attention is going to Fernando Alonso.
Yeah. And then also, don't put me in the basement when I want the penthouse of your heart. Like, I feel like the same thing. Like, just because he isn't the best, like, let's not forget about him. We're not going to put him down. Like, we should still be, like, still, like, talking about him, because he still is one of the greatest and he deserves to be up there with them.
For sure. And then, did all the extra credit then got graded on a curve? I feel like, honestly, hear me out, that lyric could be in a song like This Is Me Trying or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like a deeper lyric.
It's really good.
Right? But like, it's a very sparkly, glittery gel pen song, as Taylor Swift calls it. So I don't think people appreciate that lyric as much. But basically, he is, like I said earlier, he's put in so much time, like years, decades of his life into this sport, only for people to kind of just like see how they're doing now, credit like the car itself, the teams, the teammates. Like, people don't appreciate all his accomplishments because they see it very narrowed in, very focused. They take into account like mechanics, speed, all that stuff, and also who's succeeding at the moment. And sometimes use that to kind of ignore people who succeeded at an earlier time without as much technology and like development and stuff.
Yeah. And then I think also like these are kind of like small ones, but I made you my world, but I miss sparkling. Like F1 is his world. This man is 42, 43, and he's still showing up on race weekends. He's still driving, and that takes a big toll because you see drivers with families and stuff, but Fernando Alonso doesn't have a family. He's dating a reporter, I think, but like
King.
he doesn't have kids or anything. Like I don't know if he wants it, but it's a really big commitment to
For
do
sure.
that. And like the I miss sparkling thing, like
I love that line too. It just feels
right?
so like hopeful and
Like I would love to see like even beginning of the season 2023 Fernando back where he was getting podiums. Like
me too.
I'm sure he misses that because if you're giving so many years of your life to the sport, like of course you want to be doing well consistently.
And also he'll probably retire soon and you want to go out with a bang.
Yeah.
One of the earlier lyrics says, I think it's time to teach some lessons. And that kind of relates to like what we were saying like much earlier in the podcast episode with Ollie and Liam and their kind of inexperienced driving. Like sometimes you forget, and even though yeah, sometimes it's boring because it's like 17th and 18th, but you see an overtake and you're like, wow, like that is the value of experience. Like that is the man who knows what he's doing. Like sometimes I'll see a battle and I'll be like, I know for a fact it'll be like a three-way battle, and I'll be like, if Lewis Hamilton was here, he would find some way to overtake both of them.
Yeah.
And that can relate to Fernando Alonso also. Like At the end of the day, these people have the knowledge you need to succeed in the sport. Why are we pretending like they don't? Like,
Yeah. Just because they're not doing well, like,
totally valid for people to look up to Lewis Hamilton. They totally should. But I haven't heard any of the rookies being like, oh my god, Fernando, he's like my hero. Babe, there's only there's 3 world champions on the grid right now. And you're just like completely ignoring the one with the most experience? Come on now.
I know. I love that him and Lance's dynamic. I think it's so cute.
They're really cute.
It's so adorable. Like,
It's
I love
very
that he's
fresh,
got
for
somebody.
sure.
Yeah.
And then just one of the lyrics in the bridge, just to end it off, says, "What's a girl gonna do? A diamond's gotta shine." And again, ignoring the girl part, but like, at the end of the day, so many years in this sport, that is second nature. You know, he goes out there, he gives it his all, he commands attention. Like, he has just been brought up in that world for so long. It's his reality. Like, what's he gonna do? Like, that's just part of who he is now. He is a man who should take center stage. And so I just think the song very much relates to him.
Yeah, I think it's a really fun, like, nice, kind of upbeat-ish one, you know?
For sure.
A little bit less depressing than some of our other ones, I think.
Especially with Sad Beautiful Tragic. Like, these 2 songs back to back, like whiplash, man.
But I love it. I love talking about Fernando. I think this one is so fitting.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And then we have a really fun game. I'm really excited. So
it's a new one.
A new game, and it's called Clue Me In. And so I don't know if anybody listening has ever played Smart Ass before. If it's just my 2 parents again, then I know they have. Basically, we're going to give 3 clues, start broad, and then get narrower and narrower to kind of hint in about a topic we're going to choose. So it's either going to be a Taylor Swift song or an F1 driver. So, like I said, we're just going to have to guess what the other person is describing with their increasingly obvious clues.
Yeah.
We're going to start with Taylor Swift songs. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I'll go first. I'm a little nervous. I feel like it's my easy one, like, you're gonna get it. I think that's the point, right? Like, you want to get it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I made it too easy, but we'll see. Okay, so a Taylor Swift song. So first clue, this song is 11th on its album. I was really struggling to find a really difficult one.
I honestly, like, you know, it can't be album openers, like Ready for It, State of Grace. That's all discarded.
Okay, the song title is one word.
One word. So I'm thinking like Red, but I know that's track 2. Delicate's a track 5. I'm trying to think of other. I don't know where Enchanted is at. It could be that. I know she likes Enchanted. Haunted is also near the bottom, both on Speak Now. Clean, but I think Clean is the closer, so it should be like 13 or something. Okay.
Okay, so I feel like I made this too easy.
It's okay.
Okay, the remix of the song features Ice Spice.
Oh, yeah, Karma.
Yeah, I think it's just, I don't know, maybe it's too easy.
It's okay.
It's okay.
I feel like it was still fun, entertaining, pretty solid.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay, I'm nervous.
So there you go. Okay, I don't think you should be, or maybe. I don't think so. But it's harder when, like, you make it, because obviously you know.
Right.
Okay. 1, she has always owned the album this song is on.
Okay, so newer.
2, it is a love song about Joe Alwyn.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, not Tortured Poets. We can rule that out. Thinking maybe like Lover kind of vibes.
Okay, and 3, the song title includes the name of a place.
London Boy.
Yes!
I almost did London Boy.
Really?
We were talking before. I was like, what if we do like the same F1 driver? Because obviously there's only 20. But literally, that was like my second pick. And one of my clues was going to be that it was a place.
See, shouldn't have.
But so insane.
It worked.
Okay, yeah, that was good.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I think that's pretty solid. Okay, now we're on to F1
like,
drivers.
Kind of like impressed with myself. Like, look at
you
me
should
go.
be. That was pretty good.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like I had like a solid idea the whole time.
That's good.
Alrighty, ready?
Yes.
Alright, I hope you get this. I believe in you.
Ooh, oh no.
He finished his debut race in 9th place.
Okay, 9th place is pretty good. Okay. Thinking like Lewis or Oscar or something like that.
He has Actually, Oscar didn't finish his first race.
Oh.
It's really depressing.
That's not helpful. You can't
Sorry.
say that.
Sorry, 2023 McLaren was going through it.
Okay,
though.
only
They suck.
19 choices
Sorry.
now then.
No, because remember we can do any driver.
Yeah, but still.
What if I just pick somebody from like the 50s and go crazy?
That would be very crazy.
Okay, he's driven for 5 different teams.
That's a lot of teams. Okay.
His like racing number is a double number, so same number twice.
Okay. So the first one that comes to mind is Yuki Tsunoda, because this is like episode 22, and his number is like
that would've been so
22, 2. But do you count if it's like AlphaTauri and then Racing Bulls? Like, is that 2 separate teams for you?
If it changed while they were there, no.
Okay.
Because it was like
So-
new contract at a different team, different principal, everything.
We're gonna move on from that then, I don't think. I don't know what Pierre Gasly's number is. Let's just think. Can't be Max Verstappen. Ooh, would she do Sergio Perez? Would she do that? Because I know his number is 11. Red Bull. He was at like Force India or whatever. Ooh, this is really hard actually. I didn't make mine this hard.
Maybe
You went too much on this one.
I'm sorry.
Okay, let's get rid of that then. Neither of the Mercedes boys, neither of the McLaren boys, because their numbers don't fit those requirements. Not Lance Stroll. I don't know Fernando Alonso's racing number, but he has, in fact, been at a lot of teams, probably.
Sorry, I thought this would be. I can give you another hint later too.
No, it's okay. It's like
sorry.
the game. Can't be.
There's no like in
I don't know
between
Esteban
with mine.
Ocon. I don't know Ollie's. I can tell. Guys, this is hard. I wonder if anybody listening knows the answer right now. I don't think it could be Nico Hulkenberg. I don't know. I need to know their numbers a lot better. I don't know. I'm struggling. I am just going to guess Sergio Perez, because it's like the only thing that makes sense to me.
It's Carlos.
Oh, I
55.
should have gotten that. Ugh.
I'm sorry.
No.
I thought the double number would help.
That's doable, honestly. I should have been able to get that.
I feel like if you just like kept going down the grid just a little bit more.
Just a little bit more, because he's been at Williams, Ferrari, Renault.
Yeah.
Like Toro Rosso. What's the 5th one? Oh, McLaren.
McLaren, yeah.
Oh.
I was like, I did the research. Like, I know this.
I really should have been able to get that one. It's okay.
Look at us. We're like, man, maybe we should have tried to do the same driver on the count of 10.
Maybe. We're just
could have been our
very
day.
on that vibe today.
All
okay.
Right. Oh, I'm nervous.
I don't think you should be. I don't think mine's that hard.
Okay.
I think. This driver has never won a race.
Okay, so we're just going to take out all like the top people right now. Any championship winner. Okay.
This driver is not from Europe.
Not from Europe. So we could have Australia.
These clues are actually incredible if we're thinking about it.
We could have Australia, Asia. Could be Logan Sargent.
It could be.
Could be like Lance. If we're thinking like current, we have like, oh, but Lance hasn't won. It's not Australia, I don't think, because all the Australian drivers I can think of have won a race. Could be like someone like Franco, Gabriel, anybody from like.
Very true.
Okay, but like, see, also like Yuki's never won a race. Joe never won a race. Okay, what's the third clue? Oh, there's a lot of options here.
This driver has been the teammate of 2 world champions.
Okay, so let's think. Okay, we'll start with like Lewis. All of his teammates I can think of have won championships. Or won races, sorry. So I'm going to rule Lewis out. Max could be somebody. Could be Yuki. But who else has Yuki been a teammate of who's won a world championship? He was teammates with Pierre, Liam, Daniel. So I don't think it's Yuki. Is it Yuki?
No, I'm not.
Wait, I'm trying 2 world champions.
I'm just like giggling. Yeah.
I can turn your phone. I will look.
I don't have the
Okay, good.
answers on here.
Well, I'm trying to think because like Yuki, I'm feeling it, but
You can guess Yuki if you
I don't.
want.
Well, I don't think he's been teammates with anybody else who's won a championship. Who else? Who else has been Max's teammate that hasn't won a race? Could be Alex Albon. But who has Alex been teammates with other than Max that's won a championship? Is the question. Because I'm thinking nobody. Because like all the recent ones were like, if we're thinking semi-recent at least, just in regards to the drivers we really know about, I'm thinking like Sebastian, Nico, Lewis, and Max. And that's what I'm getting in terms of champions. Who is Sebastian been teammates? Mick Schumacher? No, he's from Lance Stroll. Is it Lance Stroll?
It is Lance Stroll.
Okay, great.
I can't believe we didn't mention Fernando Alonso after all that we've been talking about him.
I was gonna get to Fernando, and then I got sidetracked when I went to Max, thinking about like more recent champions, and then it just kind of struck me with Fernando.
Yes,
or with Sebastian.
Lance Stroll, 2 world champions, Sebastian Vettel, and
okay, I like
Fernando
it.
Alonso.
That was good. It was like,
see, I think you
I
just
could get it, but I had
you
to
won
think.
a game.
I did.
No offense, but you don't win games.
I can't even remember the last time this has happened. This is magical. This is such a new feeling.
Good
for me.
feeling, right?
Thank you.
Of course, very exciting.
That was fun. I liked
Right?
it.
It's a fun game.
Yeah. I liked it a
excited to
lot.
play it.
It was
Okay.
good. So I think we'll definitely play it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it because you get to think, but also like it's not so difficult.
No, because like you want, like you get narrower and narrower. You don't
Yeah.
want it to be like,
You're not making it impossible.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like
Fun.
this game. If you guys have any other game recs or songs or drivers you'd like to see us do on any of these, we're always grateful. If you guys thought these clues were either too easy or too hard, we would love to know y'all's experience playing along at home.
Yeah.
But we hope you liked today's episode. Half of it had to be redone from last time,
Yes.
so
Forgive us for the
hoping
late
it went
news.
smoother.
Yeah. Maybe like it'll be like a good like refresher on what has been happening.
Totally.
Like nice to see.
Yeah. But as always, make sure to follow at Cut the Headlights Podcast, Instagram and TikTok. Tell all your friends to listen, and we just
Watch
hope you
on
guys
YouTube.
enjoyed this episode today.
Yeah.
So
We will be back
you.
for the Austrian Grand Prix. I
Oh, yeah.
believe. Yeah.
I
It's
believe.
Austria. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Right.
Thank you.